funny. Hey guys, welcome back. This is History of Digimon Digital Monsters Season 1, Episode 18. This is about Episode 17 of Season 1. Now, before I actually start talking about it, I just want to mention to you guys, we are getting really close to the end of the second arc, which goes up to Episode 21, so I got like at least 18, 19, 20, 21. 5 more videos to do before the end of the second arc. I just wanted to get that out of the way for you guys as well. And also, I just want to mention to you, the last video of the second arc is also my favorite of the entire first season and stuff. I just thought I'd get that out of the way also. Now, the way this video starts off is, it starts off with a little narration from, Ty's character. He said that, okay, so I may have made a huge mistake, but who hasn't? But that techno doofus Edamon nailed us big time with that other Greymon. Our Greymon used up so much energy fighting him, he digivolved back into Koramon. And then Ty's actually admitting to what I said when I did the video for episode 17 of my show, which is about episode 16. He's saying that Koramon looks terrible, and if he hadn't have acted like such a bonehead, he never would have digivolved. And then Mimi's saying that to not be so hard on himself, but still he did make a little bit of a super icky mess of things and stuff. And then what happens is Ty's kind of thanking her for that, and then what happens is after that, she's saying that he doesn't have to mention it because she's good for a pep talk every now and then and stuff. And then what happens is she's complaining a bit, like she's not really complaining, she's just a little exhausted from the heat, and she said that, well actually it is kind of complaining really, but she said that she hasn't sweated this much since like cheerleader tryouts. And then Ty's saying that Koramon doesn't look so good and stuff. And then what happens is Palmon is saying that what they really need right now is a whole bunch of shade, like a really big umbrella or some kind of tree. And then what happens is, and then there's a little scene where it shows, this is going to sound kind of funny, but in the scene where it shows Togemon in it, what happens is, oh my god, it shows Togemon, and then it shows Palmon on the ground and stuff, and then Matt's making a little joke, and he's like, it's official! The sun has officially turned Palmon's brain into a french fry! And then he's like, Earth to Palmon, come in! And then Mimi's telling Palmon, like, look, and then the image of a cactus shows up, and then what happens after that is, Palmon's wondering if the cheese is down and she's kind of amazing, and then Ty's saying that, oh, I should also quickly mention, when they were still in the desert part, Matt made a little joke. He was like, boy, this desert is so hot, even a lizard would need sunscreen and stuff. And then what happens is, back to the image with the cactus, they run over to where it is because they think they'll find shade, and then they find out that it's just a mirage and they've been tricked. And then Jedi shows back up, and then what happens is, they're kind of getting angry with Jedi a bit. Ty said that they found the tags in a couple of crests like he wanted them to, but when they got into trouble, their Digimon couldn't digivolve, and then he showed them Koramon, and then he said that Koramon isn't himself because he's Koramon and stuff, and then Mimi's kind of getting angry with Jenna. She says, I think those things are a lot more trouble than they're worth. And then what happens is Jenna is explaining to them that the tags and crests are extremely important, and to make sure no one else kind of gets a hold of them and stuff. And then what happens is he also says that in the end they'll see that they will work together to create like total harmony. And then he's also telling Ty that as for Koramon, he wouldn't have been so helpless if he known how to care for him in the proper way and stuff. And then Ty's telling Jedi that he did the best he could. And then what happens is Jedi's saying to Ty that patience is what he needs to learn. And Jedi's then what happens is Ty saying that he wants to have Agumon back, and then what happens is Jedi says that he's starting to lose like his connection and stuff, and then what happens is Ty's kind of getting angry. He's like, it never fails. Every time I want to know about something, he hangs me up to dry. And then Theomon is wondering if they're being cared for properly, and then Gabumon makes a little little pun about that. He's like, if we were, oh come on, we're gonna teach you fall backwards. And then Matt starts freaking out, and then then everyone's kind of getting upset and stuff. And then Joe's kind of bummed out. He's like, how am I supposed to take care of you? Is there a handbook or something? I feel extremely inadequate. And then what happens is after that, a ship shows up in the middle of the desert, and then what happens is Joe, Ty's wondering if it's a battleship, and then Sora is saying that it could be, but it looks more like a fancy cruise ship and stuff. And then what happens after that is Joe's kind of freaking out a bit. He's like, the passengers will want their money back when they see this place. And then TK's wondering if that it could be just another mirage. And then what happens is Matt's kind of freaking out also. He's like, yeah, it looks pretty real to me. And then what happens is after that, they try to get out of the way of they try to get out of the way of the ship, and then it comes to where they are, and then a Numamon shows up, and then the Koramon form that ties in and then Koramon kind of starts getting a little upset, and then ties asking the Numamon that's on board if they could all come aboard and freshen up, and then Mimi uses her like female charm and stuff, and then what happens is they get on the ship, and then what happens after that is they get on the ship, and then Mimi's kind of complaining a bit when they're in the deck hall of the ship, like where the tables are. She's like, oh, what? No living tabletops? I guess we're getting on it. And then they go in. And then Sora and Mimi go into some shower thing, and then what happens is it goes to where Matt, Izzy, TK, and their partners are, and there's this whole spread of food and stuff and all that. And what happens is Testamon says that it appears to be highly edible and stuff like that. And Izzy says that it appears to be highly edible, and then Tentamon says that might I suggest that he eat it and take the leftovers with them. And now this kind of references what I explained when I did episode 9 of my own show, which is about episode 8, because Izzy kind of makes a bit of a reference to it, and he kind of references the alien theory thing that I stated also. I just tried to get it out of the way. He's telling them that, remember when the food was just like an illusion? That's back in Arc 1, where they were eating the food and it turned out to be all fake and stuff like that. And then after they're smelling it and stuff, and then Izzy says that after extensive deliberation, he's come to the conclusion that it would be rude to allow this cuisine to become cold. And then they're all excited about it. And then they start eating it, and then it goes to where Joe and Ty are, and then Ty's a little confused by what Jedi said. He's asking Joe than I meant when he said that they weren't taking proper care of their Digimon and stuff. And then what happens is after that, Joe's saying that he doesn't know. They've done everything, and he makes a little joke. He's like, "We've done everything except and give them an allowance and stuff." And then what happens is, the captain of the ship is looking on, and he says that, "Aha! It seems like a couple have taken the bait." And then he's like, "Time to get started. They're never gonna forget this truth." And then it's like he's wearing a second skin, and out pops this chicken like Digimon. Now I'll explain who he is. He's called Kokkatrimon. And in his when his character bio shows up, he says that his cockatoo do blow your eardrums and you'll be forced to surrender. Now, I'll just quickly mention what his special attack is. I'll just make it also a Greek mythology kind of reference. I don't want to do that really, but I'll just have to because of the special attack. Kokkatrimon's special attack is known as Petrifier, which is basically a green blast of energy that he shoots out of his two eyes that he has, and then whatever those touches turns to stone. Now, as I said with the Greek mythology reference, if you guys know about Greek mythology, there's a creature in Greek mythology named Medusa who does the same thing with the snake, but except whenever someone looks into her eyes. I just wanted to mention that since the attack kind of did the same thing also. I know that's kind of weird, guys. I just thought I'd get that out of the way, though. And then he tries to contact, and like he said, that Digimon will reward me greatly when he finds I have trapped the Digidestined on my ship. But then when he tries to contact him, Edamon's network, and then when it goes to where Edamon is, he's telling his Gazamon to step it up, fool. He's telling them to step it up because he's getting really impatient. And then what happens is after that, what happens is he says that his network's offline and everyone crashes. And then what happens after that is he's telling them why, because he's Edamon, and he tells them that he wants to make something of it. And then the three Gazamons that are working, they say no way, and then the three light bulbs on either side pop up, and then Edamon starts singing, and then this is going to sound kind of funny, guys, but the three Gazamon that were working also start dancing to his music, and then later on when he finishes, he whacks the three of them on the head like this. And then what happens after that is, he's telling them, who gave you permission to dance? Now you better get back to work before I get myself upset again. And then what happens after that is, they get back to work, and then it goes back to where Kokkatrimon is, and Kokkatrimon is stating that something's wrong, like Edamon's network appears to be like down and stuff, and then he says that he'll have the pleasure of plastering their feathers all by himself. And then what happens is after that, he sends a message to the Numamon that are working on board his ship, and tells them to capture them. And if they do, he'll give them an extra serving of dry ribs and even throw some jelly if they capture them. And then it goes to where Joe and Ty are in the water, and they get caught in the nets. And then Joe's complaining again at the Numamon. He's like, "Oh, don't you know I'm claustrophobic?" And then Ty's wondering what's gotten into the Numamon, and then what happens is the Numamon try to get at where Koromon is, and Ty's telling them to get their hands off. And then what happens is it goes to the scene where they're digivolving, and Koromon turns back into Agumon and fights them. But when he uses his pepper breath attack, what happens is Kokkatrimon deflects it with one of his wings, and then Gomamon's like, "That's bad, Edgy's Kokkatrimon!" And then Kokkatrimon uses his Petrifier attack, like I explained. He turns Agumon and Gomamon to stone, and then basically what happens is he grabs their crest, and then, like, before he grabs them, he's like, "Look, they left me a present!" And then he tells them that they're sunk without the crest. But he also tells them that they shouldn't be too upset because now they've got like a bunch of nice Digimon garden ornaments. And then later on, in the next scene, it shows them running to where they are, and then running to where the others are, and then Tokamon, Pentamon, and Gabumon are fighting the Numamons that they encounter, and then when Kokkatrimon shows up where they are, he's like, "It's your turn," and then he uses his Petrifier attack again, and then what happens is uh, uh, Matt says that they've been turned into rock, and then Izzy thinks that's kind of impossible, and then TK's kind of worried about Tokamon. He's like, "Where's Tokamon?" And then when Kokkatrimon tries to go after Mimi and Sora, uh, he said that, "You little chickadees think you're so smart," and then he runs after them and stuff. And then when Theomon and Palamon and Mimi and Sora encounter him, he when they say who he is, Sora makes a little joke. She's like, what happens is she's like, "Is that the Easter chicken?" And then Theomon's saying that he's bad news and stuff. And then what happens after that is Mimi realizes that Kokkatrimon has both Ty and Joe's tags, and then he says that he ran into several of their friends over by the pool, and then he's telling them to get their heads in a spin, but they're just drying off and stuff. And then he's also saying that nothing like a bunch of sun-baked faces. Drill to curly crunch fries and lots of coleslaw. And then Theomon's wondering what happened to the Digimon, and he's telling them not to worry about those guys. And then he says that confidentially he finds them to be a little bit on the stiff side. And then what happens is he's also saying that it's just his personal opinion. And then Palmon's saying that his opinion stinks, and then he's telling them that they're gonna meet the same fate. And then Theomon gets angry with him after he cackles. She's like, "You cackled once too often!" And then she uses her spiral twister attack, like I said. And then what happens after that is she Palmon uses her poison ivy attack, and he whacks them away. And then Kokkatrimon uses his petrifier, but then Sora, Mimi, and Palmon and Theomon go away from where they are, and then Kokkatrimon makes a little joke while they're running. He's like, "Come back, you chickens!" And then Sora's kind of complaining of it. She's like, "Who's he calling chicken?" And then they keep running and running and running and running. And then what happens after that is, they say that they're coming to walk the plank, and after they fight him with their Digimon forms and they defeat him, the Numamon get off the ship, and then what happens is Ty saying that they better do the same as they are and abandon ship, and then what happens is he saying that it's kind of a little too late for a mutiny, and then what happens after that is Sora's telling them that the captain has already been fricasseed, and then there's a couple of small scenes where Kokkatrimon is getting out from where he was when Theomon and Palmon were fighting him, and then what happens after that is they're going through the desert again, and then Joe's complaining a bit again. He's like, "Well, the weather sure hasn't gotten any cooler." And then what happens is they hear a noise, and Kokkatrimon is driving his little ship that he has, and then they're running from him again. And then what happens is after that, while they're running, Matt says that's one mad Digimon with his feathers at a joint. And then what happens after that is they come across the cactus, and the cactus whacks the ship. And in the next scene, Mimi's crest of sincerity shows up. Now, I also should mention, as I stated, we don't know that until the point where it's mentioned. And then once she gets and then there's one little scene where Ty's narrating. He's like, "Sure, maybe Mimi's sort of a chick, but he's also sincere and a very good friend. That's why she ended up with the crest of sincerity. And if you ask me, that was a good call. Totally cool and stuff." And that's basically where the episode ends. So if you guys like this video on YouTube, just give it the real best you guys can. And I'll see you guys next time. Keep it digital.